What's up, folks? Stu Myrick, Sports Guys, Talking Wrestling. It's a Tuesday night. Hold it. What am I doing? Am I on? Yes, I'm on. Yes, you can hear me. I was trying to control my iPad with the mouse from my MacBook. Hope you are doing well. Hope you're healthy and everything. It is obviously been really weird with all the COVID stuff and everything. Plus, those of you that are sports fans that listen to the Horn, you know everything that we've been talking about with conference realignment, Big 12 going to the SEC, and yeah, that's made things interesting. And then on top of that, I just saw something. I don't know, maybe an hour ago that allegedly Kansas has already found a new home, that they could be heading to the Big Ten, which I think a lot of us that had discussed what would happen to the rest of the Big 12 schools, I think we all figured out. We figured that Kansas was probably going to fit best in the Big Ten with their geographic location. Not to mention it'll boost up that basketball school. So we'll see. Time will tell. Again, this was just a report. It was a radio report coming out of Kansas City, I believe, to that effect. So I don't know. It's it could happen. But nonetheless, we'll see what happens. By the way, for those of you wrestling fans that are also sports fans, you know that last week I had Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com on to talk everything that was happening. Well, in case you probably heard the first part of the conversation where I had mentioned that he had said on, I think it was the Friday before on Wrestling Observer Live, he was hosting by himself, that he wanted to talk about Texas and OU to the SEC. So I invited him on that premise, and we ended up talking for about 30 minutes about that. And so I put it out as a separate podcast. It is not on the Sports Guys Talking Wrestling under the Sports Guys Talking Wrestling banner. It is under From the Horn Northwest Austin Bureau banner. So if you'd like to hear that, you can check that out on your on Apple Podcast and on Spotify. I think that's, or it may be Amazon. So, but check that out. It was a fun little talk, and because there are those of us, that are into wrestling, but we're still into sports too. I think I heard today 32 days before Texas kicks off its 2021 football season against Louisiana. So, not too long, not too far away. So, tonight we expect to have Nick Hausman from Wrestling Inc. on. They broke the story along with Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful. They broke the story yesterday that Ric Flair had requested and was granted his release from WWE. And WWE made it official this morning via tweet that they have indeed released the Nature Boy. And this comes 2 days after Bray Wyatt was released by WWE. We hadn't seen Bray Wyatt on TV since the Raw after WrestleMania. He popped up in the Firefly Funhouse, lamenting his loss to Randy Orton, but said he would be back better and stronger, yada, yada, yada. Well, yeah, he may be back. He'll be in a different company, probably under a different identity. We'll see. And there's been some other talk about whether it was health related, mental health related. I'm not going to speculate on that, especially with the mental health aspect. I hope that whatever route he goes after his tenure with WWE, he finds happiness. He finds what he's looking for. He's got his wife JoJo. I think they have one child. So whatever wherever life takes them, hopefully they are fulfilled and happy. It's a popular to everybody that gets released. It's popular to say, "Oh, well, let's sign them to AEW." Well, yeah, that's possible. And we might address that. Cody Rhodes had a media conference call this afternoon. I was not a part of it, but I know Nick was, as well as others. And I know Cody addressed that to a small extent. This, of course, on the rumors of both CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, formerly known as Daniel Bryan, signing with AEW. He mentioned something about, look, it's kind of like in the NFL. If you've got a hot prospect or a free agent prospect that's hot, you got to sign him. So, and I think that's what AEW's philosophy is. Except unlike the NFL, they don't have to worry about salary cap or limitation on roster. They can carry more than 53-man roster. So we'll see. But be that as it may, we'll discuss that with Nick and some other things. On top of that, he was at the Allstate Arena in Chicago last night for Monday Night Raw, which, man, I really want Raw to be good. I really do. I honestly want Raw to be entertaining and give me a reason, fulfill the reason why I tune in on Monday nights. And, everything we had heard leading up to WWE getting back on the road, leaving the Thunderdome, and getting back in front of the fans was that they're going to save they were saving a bunch of stuff for when they got back on the road. Well, Monday Night Raw has been on the road for what, 3 weeks? And I know it's not very long, but we hadn't seen much. And in fact, it's been kind of the same Raw that we saw in the Thunderdome. Same 20 to 30 wrestlers, an inordinate amount of rematches, variations of rematches. Just, it's I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. It's not. I don't know what they're, and this is kind of something. This is what we were trying to address last week. What is the audience? What is their ideal audience that they are trying to target? As we mentioned, it feels like they are going after. They're trying to go after everybody. They're trying to be a comedy. They're trying to be a drama. They're trying to be a soap opera. They're trying to be action. They're trying to be everything but professional wrestling. We know Vince does not like the word wrestling, and now we've heard Nick Khan has even said we're not a wrestling company. So, okay, so then the question is, well, what are you? Besides a content creator for NBC Universal and Fox, if you believe the rumor and innuendo, the release of Bray Wyatt has WWE's TV partners little uneasy. And remember, they were uneasy when they released Braun Strowman. That's another point. So, as of now, think of the four members of the Wyatt family: Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, a.k.a. Brody Lee, the late great Brody Lee, Eric Rowan, now Eric Redbeard, and Braun Strowman. They're all gone. They are all gone from WWE. They've all been released. They all have been released by WWE. Now, yes, Brody Lee has since passed away. But remember, he was cut because WWE had nothing for him. And I'll get into this with Justin and Nick. This whole budget cut reason. Allegedly, Bray was told, or it was intimated that Bray Wyatt was released because of budget cuts. Look, if you're gonna cut somebody, okay, it's a business. I get it. You know, I've stopped getting upset at it because of it, because it's quite frankly, you know. And I'll be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of Bray Wyatt. I thought he was a fine, great wrestler, but the gimmick, or especially the Fiend gimmick, I didn't mind the Wyatt family. I kind of liked that, but the Fiend, wasn't for me. But to use something as convoluted as budget cuts, when you like the day before, you have your investors call, your Q2 financial call, where you're still making more money than you've made ever. It's hard to swallow budget cuts. I'm not saying don't cut him. If you got to cut him, cut him. But let's be honest. Whether it's creative's got nothing for you, or you don't fit the scheme, or don't fit our future plans, whatever. Don't use budget cuts. That's a slap in the face, quite frankly. I know a lot of people will point to like Eva Marie, and I am not a fan of Eva Marie. Now, I have said time and time again, I will never root for somebody to get fired. And I wouldn't root for Eva Marie get fired. I do think she should have never been hired, because the story is, and remember, this is her second run. And we're seeing the same thing. That's the thing. We've not seen any growth. We're seeing the same thing we saw the first run. Lack of ability in the ring. She is not a good actress. I don't get it. Piper Niven is 100 times the wrestler that Eva Marie is. But hey, they let Bray Wyatt go. Where he ends up, we'll see. I saw some tweets saying, "Hey, send him to AEW, put him in charge of the Dark Order." No, because when they first started the Dark Order, and then put Brody Lee as the Exalted One, yeah, they were out as a heel, whatever, but they've gone, obviously they've gotten over, after Brody Lee's death, they've definitely gotten over as a babyface faction. And honestly, Bray doesn't fit. Bray doesn't fit with him in his current form. Now, could he maybe have a new faction? Him, Bo Dallas, maybe Braun, maybe somebody else? almost like a new version, an AEW version of the Wyatt family with a couple different characters. Sure, I can see that. Go back to his, I think somebody called it the Cape Fear version. You know, what he did in NXT and what they did early WWE. I could see that. Yeah, sure. You know, but hey, we'll see. Could happen in Impact. Could happen in Ring of Honor. We'll say the same thing we always say. Could happen. So we'll talk about that later. What else we talk about? Oh, yeah, and then on top of everything else, Adam Cole, as Justin Smash Simmons walks in, allegedly is working without a current contract. Hey, I'm approved for Boston FC on tomorrow. Yay. There's Justin Simmons sporting the kit for the CONCACAF Gold Cup champion, Team USA. Hi, Justin.
Still not that big of a deal, though. But good wins.
I know it's not. I know, but hey, it's a win. Win's a win. We're talking U.S. men's soccer. It's
any win against Mexico is a good win.
Even I know it's yeah, it's not the biggest thing, but hey, at least it's a win. How are you?
Tired.
I get you.
I think I've been like in 3 places at once, like right now. So
Yikes. My brother, I have a younger brother, lives up in East Texas. So he calls me on, was it Friday? Calls me during the day on Friday. Says, "Hey, I'd like to come down and hang out with you."
Okay.
I was like, "Okay." And he was going to come down the next day. Now, mind you, my younger brother, 3 years younger than me. He in fact, happy birthday, Jason. He turned 50 today.
Oh wow.
My younger brother, up until about 6 months ago, would never leave East Texas.
Yeah, basically what you told me before.
Yeah. Now he's been to other countries in search of love.
Oh, that's right. I completely forgot about that.
And then on top of that, he decided he wanted to come. He wanted to come to Austin.
Try his hand here, or what?
But we didn't because he was tired and he works a lot.
Man, if anybody needs a podcast, is that dude?
Yeah, he's something else.
Especially after the last couple of ventures he's had.
Yeah, he is. In fact, while he was here, he was texting this girl in Colombia, and apparently they got a fling going. I don't know. Anyway,
Does your brother speak Spanish?
He does, just because he works in construction.
Oh, okay.
He has his own house building crew, so yeah. I don't know how fluent he is, but
apparently good enough.
It's enough to get around. So, and I love him. Of course, he's my younger brother, and I'm proud of him. It was just kind of like all of a sudden, hey, I'm gonna come see you tomorrow. Okay, sure.
You let him use the couch?
Let him sleep on the couch. He actually enjoyed the couch. So anyway, should be fun. Nick Hausman's going to join us here in a little while.
Oh, I thought you were already talking to him.
Nope. Just
well, then I would have made like a better entrance than that quiet one that I just did, because I thought you were talking to him. So I was like, we need like this big disruptive.
Actually, I appreciate it because sometimes your entrances are a little much.
That's
I know you. I know you like it, but it's kind of like I'm going. Okay, sure.
It's a show, not just a radio show.
You're not a. Yeah, we're not a radio show. We're a show about a radio show.
There you go.
Right.
Now you got it. Now you're thinking.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. We're gonna explore that with Nick.
We're not even a radio show
WWE.
anymore. We're like we've never been just a radio show. We've been a full entity, like a full entertainment entity.
Okay, sure.
What do you mean?
We did some sports.
I was gonna say what?
Semper Vivi and I did sports last week.
No,
with the Big 12 thing.
No, I mean like literally, we've gone from podcast
to radio
show to simulcast on YouTube.
Yes. Which what we do now.
To live remotes before that.
Yeah.
And even covered like impromptu play-by-plays during live remotes. So it's just all like, no,
We've done it all.
you never, it's
we've
not just a
all.
radio. It was never just a show.
Yeah, we know how to adjust on the fly.
If you just call this a pro wrestling show, it's like a disservice. we are more.
We are a living, breathing organism.
Yes, a complete entity of pro wrestling.
Sure.
A conglomerate.
But yeah, there's there's stuff. It was so funny, and I didn't load up our run sheet just because I knew we would be. Some of these things will evoke long conversations, so and I don't want to run over too much because then I have to edit, because the radio show can only fit 45 minutes. With the commercials and such.
Ooh, that's
an hour minus the commercials.
That will be the next storyline for this show is the intern. Because at some point, we're just going to have to get you an intern to edit the shows. So you don't have to do it anymore.
It's what's funny is, so with, me going to the Super Bowl and stuff, I get folks asking me, hey, can I intern for you? Or can I carry cables for you? It's like, no, dude, I'm the one that carries the cables. It's, whatever. So
yeah,
but that would be nice. But
I mean, I'm pretty sure if you just put like a APV on Twitter or even here, it's all like, hey, who's looking to edit a podcast?
We'll see.
The perks are slim.
Yeah,
but
but
I do promise you 1 beer a month.
I can do 1 beer. In fact, I got some native Texan and some Dos Equis in the.
Well, when I meant 1 beer, it's like I'll actually sit there and have it with you.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll discuss the pro wrestling or whatever you want to discuss as a thank you for editing.
Roddy Strong beating Bobby Fish on NXT.
Like having to cut that for the radio portion of the show. Just
by the way, did you see Raw last night?
Parts of it.
Did you see how bloody Nia Jax got?
Yeah.
I'm trying. I mean, and I guess maybe she got caught on one of those little spikes on Rhea Ripley's gear or something.
I mean,
because it was like on her. It was like right on her cheekbone or like right under her eye.
Yeah.
And it didn't take long. That thing was like, it looked like half her face was just crimson mask.
It's just one of those areas where like everything just meets and it's easy to cut if it just catches, tears the skin the right way. I'm pretty sure it was like a puncture slash tear of some sort, but that's just like guessing.
Yeah. That was interesting though to see that they had a pretty decent match. And that's, all the stuff that I always complain about Monday Night Raw, very little of it has to do with the in-ring action. The in-ring action is actually pretty decent. It's just everything they wrap it in is just, it just makes you shake your head.
I think they're just trying to figure out how to be WWE while changing the in-ring product little by little to kind of suit the needs for today's style of professional wrestling. Like, they're always going to have their own spin on everything. They're like the Apple of professional wrestling. It's like, yeah, you can buy a PC or you can buy an Apple. There's tons of PCs out there, right? But there's only one Apple.
Yeah.
And they're both very similar, right? They both do similar things, but they have their own version of those similar things.
And people get tribalistic about PC versus Apple.
But some people understand that there are some pluses and minuses to each product, right? And in the same case, these professional wrestling, there's pluses and minuses. AEW went pretty heavy on the death matches as of late. That's not everybody's cup of tea. It's just one of those things, and it obviously wasn't their advertisers' cup of tea.
Yeah. Well, one of them in particular.
Yeah.
Hello, Domino's. That's okay. I don't order Domino's anyway.
I was going to say the noise.
I'm more of a. There's a place not too far from here called Pizza Paradise.
Yeah, man. You keep on pushing it.
I like them.
It's like one of these days. It's just because the Double Days is so close to it, and it's just like I have so many Double Day points.
I like Double Days, although I ate them a lot and they got a little burnt out by them.
But I think that happens with any food, though.
It does. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But you can't beat pepperoni or cheese roll Dollar Tuesdays.
Oh, pepperoni rolls at Double Dave's.
Because, I mean, you can go to, well, you're going to be at the stadium tomorrow, and those same
I will be.
pepperoni rolls are going to cost you, what, like $3-4 a piece?
I will be, yeah. By the way, did you hear me did a soccer podcast from the Northwest Austin Bureau? Me and Mark, what's his last name? Dadgummit.
I don't know.
From Last Word on Sports. He sits with me in the press box.
Oh, you're talking about English Mark.
Mark Turner. Yes, Mark Turner.
Yeah.
It was great. We had a good time.
Oh, yeah.
He complimented me on my learning curve.
Well, yeah.
I felt proud.
I mean, it's not an easy game. There's some nuances to it. It's like baseball. Like there's some certain little things that just don't make sense until it makes sense, I guess.
Real quick before I call, let's see, what time is it? Okay. I call Nick here in about 4 minutes.
Now, is that a pro
Real
wrestling shirt that you are wearing?
Yeah, it's Adam Cole.
Okay, that's what I thought. But I was like the old ones, right?
It's an old one. All right, so quick soccer take. Give me your thought on Sebastian Drusi joining Austin FC.
It's funny because everybody's been asking me about him like since Sunday. Like I was on Fox 7.
Yes.
Surprisingly. Drusi. Sebastian. So he's a better second striker than anything else. And when I mean that, he is like the attacking mid, at least in the way that Coach Wolf has his team set up, because he has wingers.
Yeah.
Not every team is built like that, right?
Right.
So the guy who is currently playing that attacking mid role, usually Pochettino, naturally is a winger. So the way I've been explaining it, it's like you have a wide receiver playing quarterback when you really should go back to playing wide receiver. Now, the problem for Austin FC right now has been scoring goals. I think I even said in the interview they've only scored 10 this year, and that's last in the MLS. But they've only given up 16, so that's pretty good. Most of the teams that are in the playoffs right now in the Western Conference have given up more goals than that. It's just that they've scored more.
Defense has been great.
Yeah, defense has been pretty solid.
They just can't score.
So the problem is, though, the guys that they signed, I probably was nice about it before, too, but the guys that they signed, we just don't know. Like, Driussi, like, he's a good player, but how fast is he going to make that adjustment to living in the States?
Same thing with Gaines, who's a native of Round Rock.
I don't know, but the problem is like with Gaines, I know he has a lot of talent. I'm not expecting him to just go into the starting lineup.
He's young. He's really young.
Well, by soccer standards, he's really not, though.
Oh, he's
by
not?
soccer standards, like 26 is usually your prime. So he's about.
Oh, and we still have Gite, who has signed, but we can't get him because of visa issues, quarantine, all that good stuff.
That's front office oversight, though. Like somebody in the front office who was putting that deal together, like, didn't think it all the way through, unfortunately, and that's hurting them because it seems like the way that they're trying to build this team is that I think they're really high in Giete, and that he is going to be the guy that scores goals, because ideally we would have a finishing striker and the person to set him up, because you can make the argument we don't have either right now, but Driussi would be a much better player to set up somebody else as opposed to being the guy finishing. Not saying that he can't do it.
And see, that was one of the things I pointed out. I think it wasn't this past game. I think it was the last one. That's what Austin FC has had a problem with. They can set up. They just can't finish.
Yeah, but even then, it's like they're not supposed to be a crossing team, and they've been playing like a crossing team. Yeah. So it's nowhere near the style of play that was promised. So the question is now is like, oh, how are the fans going to be tomorrow if they lose? Because there's not going to be any help. None of those players that have just been signed are going to play tomorrow.
You're right.
And they are really dependent on the play of, what is it, Pereira? Yeah. Like the kid, the one that was just drafted out of Virginia.
Danny, right?
Yeah.
Danny Pereira.
Yeah, the one that plays in the midfield. Yeah. Like, he's surprisingly has been very good for them already, and he's been like in and out of the lineup this year because of injuries. So if he's better and fit to play, I think he can only come off the bench, but he would be a big difference maker for them.
We'll see. Yeah, Austin FC and Houston tomorrow night at Q2 Stadium.
I don't know, man. There's nothing worse than having to cover a boring soccer match. Because I saw the Bull get beat 3-0, and that was hard to watch.
Yeah. All right, let's see if we can get a hold of Mr. Hausman.
Hello?
Nick Hausman. It's Stu Myrick and Justin Simmons. How are you, man?
Hi, Stu. Hi, Justin. Good.
Hey.
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Doing well. Just enjoying, Austin summer, which actually isn't too bad right now, but it'll get bad.
How bad is not bad in Austin? Is that like 99 degrees?
Just about.
Actually, right now it was down to like 90 because we had this big rainstorm last couple days, so it's only 90.
Oh, well, I mean, as a Texan and having spent my summer in Austin a time or two, yeah, 90. That's pretty good.
That's
for
not
you
bad
guys.
for the beginning of August. That's pretty good. So
Yeah, that's pretty good.
yeah. All right. So I'll ask you about the releases. I also want to get your in-person take from Raw last night. Oh, and I'm gonna give you a chance to promote the your Pro Wrestling for Life with X-Pac joining Fight TV.
Oh, awesome. I really appreciate that, Stu.
No problem. I'll do a quick intro, and we will get going.
All right, cool.
Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Adam Cole, baby. And you're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
When they're not covering the sports world, they're talking about the world of professional wrestling.
It's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Now, with Justin Simmons, here's Stu Myrick.
It is Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Stu Myrick, Justin Smash Simmons. What's up, man?
What's going on, Stu? Besides, watching some soccer. One up, one down.
One up, one down. That's right. We might have to talk about that here in a little while. But first, we're at least we're still employed, unlike some others. If you've been following the news,
coming out with the zingers already.
Trying to. Bray Wyatt no longer with WWE. Ric Flair no longer with WWE. And to help us discuss all of this, we bring in on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline one of the men responsible for breaking some of this news over the last 48 hours. He is the managing editor for Wrestling Inc. He is our good friend Nick Hausman. Follow him on Twitter at Nick_Hausman. Excuse me. Is that right, Nick?
Yeah, sadly, Stu, I wasn't able to claim at Nick Hausman. It was taken.
Still?
So there's another Nick Hausman out there?
Yeah, well, Stu, hi, Justin, by the way.
How's it going, Nick?
Great to chat with you again. Yeah, Hausman actually a very common German last name. It's about it's like the Smith of Germany. There's a lot of Hausmans out there.
Okay, understandable. All right, so I wanted to bring you on because you guys along with Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful, you broke the Ric Flair story. Before we get to that, let's talk Bray Wyatt. So we get the news on Saturday. WWE has come to terms with Bray Wyatt on his release. We wish him best of luck in his future endeavors. How shocking was this to you?
Oh, I mean, out of left field, right? I mean, I think, people on the inside, right? News people, ardent fans. I'd even wager that Bray Wyatt himself may have not seen this one coming. By all accounts, it sounds like there were some plans in place for Bray to come back at SummerSlam and do something. So if we're to take WWE at their word, it would sound like Nick Khan, I'm imagining Nick Khan only, looks at the ledger, is trying to figure out how to make WWE more profitable, realizes that maybe over the past few years they've signed some people to some big downside guarantees, and says, before we really get this thing going, I think we should get rid of this guy and maybe give a chance to bring him back to the table at another time and get him for a better deal. That's the most logic I can wrap around it after thinking about it. But at the time, I mean, yeah, I mean, completely caught everybody off guard.
Well, he's been off television since the Raw after WrestleMania. He made that appearance in the Firefly Funhouse after losing to Randy Orton there in Tampa. We hadn't seen him since. We've heard a variety of rumors as to the reasons why. You mentioned the big downside guarantee, and I think we've started to see that quite a bit in WWE. They went through kind of a signing spree. On the surface, at least, it looked like they were signing guys just to keep them away from, name your favorite promotion, AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, New Japan, whatever.
Yes.
Is this where Bray falls?
That's what it sounds like, right? I mean, that's the most logic I can make of it. Unless, again, there's more to it, which, some people have said. I haven't quite heard any kind of substantive whatever else it could be to it. The company line seems to be this was a budget cut. And it, like you say, Stu, there's been a lot of people recently that have been cut that, got good deals. Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, even more specifically, you can look at the 205 Live guys that they've cut recently, like Arya Davari, Bollywood Boys, Tony Nese. Those were all talents that came in and were given main roster contracts, right? Now, I think that that's going to probably be looked at more as an NXT deal, which is structured very, very differently than a main roster deal. So up and down, yeah, it looks like if you got a good deal, you might be on Nick Khan's radar. Maybe both. You could be on both Khan's radar for good and bad reasons.
Well, and I want to hit that. I want to hit that with you later because I know you were on the conference call with Cody Rhodes earlier today. So,
right.
But may I ask the most important question here about Bray Wyatt? What is the WWE going to do going forward? One, with all those extra Bray Wyatt masks from The Fiend that are going to be laying around because they had all those authentic masks that they made. And I guess more importantly, what is the WWE going to do going forward every time that Alexis Bliss shows up in her character and they're chanting, "We want Wyatt"?
Well, twofold. Bray paid for, I believe, all of the unique masks and stuff from Richard Savini's company or whatever. So think of pro wrestlers like school teachers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, school teachers are expected to buy their own pencils and other things to make the classroom go round, and then they have to write it off on their taxes. It's a big scam, right?
Yeah.
Wrestlers kind of operate the same way. Like a lot of stuff you see wrestlers try out or that looks cool or is different, it's not like the company came to them and was like, hey, let's do this. A lot of times wrestlers invest their own money into different facets of their presentation. And Bray went kind of overboard with that. He really had, and that's why he's such a commodity, right? He's got this mind and he's not afraid to act on his ideas. And he went and had a lot of that stuff made himself. So he might actually retain that stuff. Now, if you're talking about like merchandise,
yeah, the
Bray Wyatt merchandise, yeah, they were burning that last night at Raw Chicago. They were selling Wyatt shirts. Like, you want a Bray Wyatt shirt? $30. They were getting through that stuff. I saw a kid with Huskus walking around, and I was like, he bought that here. His dad got him that.
Wow.
But yeah.
It's a
no
clearance
shame.
sale. It's a clearance sale. There you go.
They were burning Bray Wyatt merch last night, for sure. And yeah, I mean, they'll get rid of it. And with Alexa, there were the "We Want Wyatt" chants, and they didn't put her out in front of the Chicago crowd, and we kind of set the tone, and so she was a pre-tape, and they could mute us out a little bit, but it's out there. I don't know how it'll be in other cities. One thing that was very, very clear to me at Raw last night is that WWE is singing two songs at the same time. That's what I've been saying. You got kids that are going to act one way, and then you have dudes who also kind of like AEW, but still like WWE and show up, and they want to make it their kind of fun, and those things are happening on top of each other, and it's very interesting to watch because like the WWE crowd, the Barnum and Bailey crowd, they don't care that they're not going to chant "We Want Wyatt." They're just like, oh, Alexa Bliss, spooky goth princess. I love it. But like, yeah, whatever, smarter fans or not family fans, their voice was also heard last night. I heard an Oldberg chant become a Goldberg chant. Like, the kids thought they were chanting Goldberg, and it became a Goldberg chant. I'd never seen anything like that,
Well, and that was one of the things I was going to ask you about, because you were at Raw in Chicago at the Allstate Arena, and it was pretty obvious to those of us that know how to listen to things on television that there was definitely some crowd sweetening in the audio, but we wanted to know how much. Like, was there someone who was either getting booed or wasn't getting a reaction at all that you noticed from the live crowd there in Chicago?
I mean, I don't know what it came like across at home. I mean, there's obvious stuff like, T-Bar and Mace came out. The crowd was very, very flat. Jackson Riker got a much more flat reaction. I was expecting a negative reaction, but flat, just like nobody really knew what to say or do when Jackson Riker was out there. That one was weird. But I really thought for the most part that they got the reactions they wanted. Goldberg was a little muddled. Drew McIntyre, I know, was the one that there was that bit of audio that played where Michael Cole was saying 16-time champion. And, again, I'll take them at their word that somebody misplayed a SummerSlam commercial backstage and the audio came through and it was badly timed. I don't know. Whatever. Drew, it didn't need it. Drew McIntyre was very, very over with the Chicago crowd. There was a huge pop for that guy. Yeah. I mean, they were eating him up. But again, it's like they're singing two songs at the same time because Drew McIntyre comes out, place goes nutso, right? Like when they played that bit of audio, didn't need it. The guy was getting a huge reaction. When the match started and he's in there and it's a handicap match and the kids are sitting there and they're all into it and the whole pop's gone down, that's when, dudes in their late 20s, early 30s have had a beer or two, realize the crowd is quiet and they can get some stuff going. And that's when you heard CM Punk chants and stuff. So Drew McIntyre probably got one of the biggest pops of the night, but at the same time got CM Punk chants. And I think that's such a very interesting dynamic that we'll see play out here as live fans stick around.
True. And you mentioned about the misplay on the Michael Cole call. Yeah. Look, I mean, live radio happens. We've heard commercials fire off, without intent during a show. So if it can happen in radio, it can happen on TV. I get that. All right, so let's go forward. The story that Wrestling Inc. and Fightful broke, that Ric Flair asked for and was granted his release from WWE. From everything I have heard, everything I read, this stems from just his disagreement. With booking.
Yeah. Stu, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I lost you there for a second.
That's good.
That's what I've heard as well, that Rick's very frustrated with the booking he had with Lacey Evans and the booking of Charlotte in recent months. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, there was that, and I mean, every story I've seen has said other booking decisions, most of it regarding Charlotte, and apparently he either approached or texted Vince McMahon and just decided it was time.
Well, Rick is, and I've had the privilege of getting to interview Rick several times, and maybe I'll talk to him about this. Who knows? But Rick's a very mercurial character. When Rick feels a certain way, he'll do wherever kind of his feelings take him, for better or for worse. I have a feeling that because recently Rick has become, like, I don't want to say more of a pop culture figure, but he's just popping up everywhere recently. He's had so many opportunities. I think he's just trying to, be Ric Flair and, flex, right? I mean, if he's unhappy, it's like, it's not no harm, no foul to him. If Vince wants to do his thing, but how do you in your position do your thing, right? It's flexing, So I don't know. Last time I talked to Rick for the website, he was very down on Arn Anderson and their relationship, and I don't know if AEW's a realistic thing. I think it could be more just big deals, right? TV deals, reality. Maybe Ric Flair will do Big Brother. Who knows, right? But like Rick has things to do where he's making money. This is just like, I mean, what leverage do you have when you're upset with a guy like Vince McMahon? You flex,
That's true. That's very true. And I've heard some of the same things about, the things between him and Arn aren't rosy. So when this came down, everybody's talking, well, he'll just go to AEW and reunite with Tully and Arn. I'm going, well, let's not go, let's not so fast, my friend. So.
Hey, but look, we might have Colt Cabana and CM Punk under the same circus tent here pretty soon.
That's true.
If there has ever been a Ric Flair and Arn Anderson of our times, it's those two,
Yeah.
So.
But the one thing you can say here about Slick Rick is that he has some pull right now, like you mentioned. Everybody's just loving on Rick. He has like this renaissance in his career, and I think it's a chance for that one last generation that didn't get to see him work to kind of understand his work and really understand why he is given the respect that he is. And I think in a way you would agree that he's kind of like the Bill Murray of professional wrestling right now, where he kind of just, he'll take his gigs when he wants to.
Yeah, he definitely pops up all the time. I think he's a little more outgoing than Bill. Bill's a bit of an introvert. I'd maybe say Punk is a little bit more Bill, but it's tough to say. Bill's a very interesting character, But no, I mean, he is like Bill Murray. Ric Flair is an icon, and Ric Flair can kind of pick and choose his spots. And I don't think Rick wants to be under the thumb of anybody right now. And if for whatever reason he felt like Vince was pushing him around, not treating him right, not making good decisions, like, what other leverage do you have? You flex. You're Ric Flair. You just take your ball and literally go to a basketball court and announce, the Lakers or whatever he does now.
That's true. That's true. Football season is coming up in the South.
There you go.
Yep.
We've been talking a lot about Texas and OU to the SEC. Hey, may see Rick show up at DKR for an SEC game whenever that happens. We'll see.
Sure.
One things I wanted to touch on with Bray Wyatt being cut, and this is after Braun Strowman and some of these other big contracts and guys that have been in WWE for a little while. There has been rumored to been some uneasiness among the WWE roster, especially those that have been there for a while, that might others that might have these sizable contracts. Have you heard anything as far as some, I won't say top guys, but near the top that may be fearing for their job right now?
I mean, first of all, how can you not be uneasy, right? Like I said earlier, there's a chance if you're on Nick Khan's, in his crosshairs, maybe it might be Tony Khan's, good graces for a different reason. Yeah, I mean, Nick Khan is not a wrestling person. And we'll see how this experiment goes. Historically, bringing in non-wrestling people to run wrestling stuff has not always gone great, right? But Vince is still the guardrails here. And Nick Khan is looking at the book and saying, you can make your wrestling. I'm going to make financial decisions. And by my financial decisions, you can make your wrestling. And everybody's, I mean, how can you not be on edge, right? I think an interesting case right now, another story we broke over at Wrestling Inc. was about Adam Cole and how his contract is going to be coming up right after SummerSlam, TakeOver weekend. So Adam Cole is in this unique situation where I think it's based on what we reported, like his contract expired a while ago and then they renegotiated and he extended it. And now he's going to wrestle till, this TakeOver. And after that, Adam Cole is a free agent. He could pop up on Dynamite that, the Wednesday after, or Rampage that night. Maybe he does a Rick Rude. I'm not sure how it happens, whatever. But if you're Adam Cole and you're sitting there and you're saying, man, I'm in this awesome spot to negotiate a great deal with WWE. And then you look at the headlines of, well, all the other people who last year negotiated great deals with WWE all got fired. Do you want to negotiate a great deal with WWE right now? And that's a real think piece for somebody with value.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So So Nick Hausman from Wrestling Inc. joining us on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. If you had put the bet right now, percentage that Adam Cole stays in WWE, stays with NXT, how much of a chance? Because usually that's what happens. They expire, and everybody gets all up in an uproar, only to find out, they signed a new deal, in a day or two. So you give me your thought. How likely does Adam Cole stay in WWE?
I'm gonna give it a 30%.
Really?
I'll give it that much because Samoa Joe re-signed, and that's a pretty big, piece of bait. And maybe Hunter's really trying to let people know this isn't Vince's company. This is my company. But Vince, I guess, can carry and cross you and do whatever he wants. So who knows what that even means, right? But Hunter really trying to flush out his own territory? What does that mean? All of that, yada, 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 yada. That's 30%. The other 70%, the reason I say 70% AEW is because you only get to go to the cool parties so many times in your life. And he has such history with the Elite, and his girlfriend works there, right? I mean, if you got the billionaire Tony Khan offering you the same or better money than you were getting elsewhere, I don't know, man. For me personally, that'd be hard to pass up. But I'm not in his shoes. I will real quickly point out that Tony Khan, like 2-3 weeks ago, after a Dynamite, came out and he cut this promo to the live crowd, saying something about how like AEW wasn't or AEW doesn't have a performance center. They are just a platform for the greatest wrestlers on the planet. And I remember listening to that promo at the time, and everyone was like, "Oh, pot shot at WWE, pot shot at WWE." And I was like, "No, man, that is a coded message to some people or someone in NXT." And I don't think it's a surprise that 2-3 weeks later we're finding out Adam Cole's contract may be up. Because if I was to try to decode what Tony Khan is trying to say, don't go somewhere that's a performance center and expect to be treated like a high-end performer. You come work for me. You got all your buddies here. We'll let you actually go out and be a pro wrestler right now. So that Adam Cole one will be an interesting to watch. I give it 30% he stays at WWE.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. That's interesting.
I think it really comes down to how much value does the WWE hold in, well, not necessarily the company, but how much value does Cole hold in WWE? Is he like a traditionalist where like holding the WWE title is a complete career dream making thing? For some people, obviously that's been the childhood dream, and maybe he's willing to stick it out a little bit longer because for the longest time he was already put on that Shawn Michaels pedestal. I don't see it. I know you just gave us your number, but do you think he holds any value? Have you ever heard any stories where maybe he's held the title like that in regard that having to be checked off his career list?
Yeah. He did an interview not long ago where he talked about this and said WWE was always his goal, and he's here and he's living that dream. And I get that, man. But this is a very different time, and I think there are a lot of guys on the independents. I'll say this. I talk to a lot of guys in the independents now where holding the WWE title doesn't mean anything to them. Okay. I'm not saying what it doesn't used to be. I'm saying nothing to them. Like the business has changed. Adam was he's like, he's not a Gen Zer, he's a millennial, right? Mm-hmm. A couple years before that, so maybe it does. But hard to look around and see the people that are succeeding right now and not want to follow that path and maybe change up your plan. Look, you go to WWE, you make a name, you leave, you got more value. Okay, yeah, Tony Khan's buying a lot of those people. But you go to GCW, you got Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, Jungle Boy, Nick Gage. I mean, those guys are getting the same rub right now as a lot of, if not better, than the WWE guys. So I don't know, man. Like if I'm Adam Page, I'm Adam Cole, and I'm sitting there and looking at this situation right now, and I got a good deal the other direction, you can always come back to WWE and make a better deal, and maybe they'll honor it. But they're not making good deals and honoring them right now.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
Is he instantaneously, main event guy? Like as soon as if he shows up to AEW?
No, I don't know, man. I mean, look, the guys they're about to hypothetically send to the company, maybe he does better off maybe than over where Vince be booking him. You'll have CM Punk, looks like Daniel Bryan, Kenny Omega. Yeah, these are all guys that are in that vertical there for Adam Cole. And those are the top guys at that company. The top guys in WWE, I mean, not always. I mean, Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns, God bless, but they're not going in there and doing the same things with the guys that we're talking about right now.
That's true. Real quick before I let you go, you were on the media conference call with Cody Rhodes today. Couple things that he mentioned. Number one, he was asked about signing talent and his philosophy. Basically, compared it to the NFL coming across a free agent that they just have to sign. It's like you got to sign them. Talk for a second about that, and one other really notable thing that he mentioned during his conference call.
He told us at the start of the call he didn't want to talk about any rumors, right? I think they've tipped their hand pretty hard that they've got some big guys coming in, and he did talk about how he welcomes these names if they're just going to help the company. The more the merrier, whatever he wanted to say. It's a very interesting time for AEW. I think we're going to see some big names come in. We'll see how the fans react to seeing some of the original members of the band move into the back of the bus in a variety of ways. I hope it all works out. I mean, it's just gonna be a very interesting dynamic change there. And I also think at the same time, like this is going to open up a door for Ring of Honor, New Japan, other promotions that are maybe even planned right now, because I think there's probably some other people out there with money seeing the landscape right now, working on some things. This could be a very interesting change of tone. I'll just say that. But you say what else interesting came out of the call? All the talk about COVID, right? That's the kind of bummer end of this conversation. How is the changing landscape of mask mandates and the Delta variant going to change everything? And I was very heartened that Cody full-throatedly came out, in his opinion, as pro-vaccine and said that is the best way to deal with this. And he encouraged people to get vaccinated because it's going to be a super bummer if all this cool stuff we've been talking about for the last 25, 30 minutes or so or whatever, it all comes to a standstill because this thing gets out of control and we got to go back into lockdowns and things like that. And I thought that was the other sleeper story coming out of this, and maybe not even a sleeper story because it could unfortunately become kind of obvious here pretty soon.
Yeah, so. It could. He is Nick Hausman. Follow him on Twitter at Nick_Hausman. Read about the Cody Rhodes media conference call and everything else at Wrestling Inc., WrestlingInc.com. Nick, as always, a pleasure to hear your voice, my friend. All the best to you. Be well, be safe, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Stu. And real quickly before I go,
yes,
Pro Wrestling for Life.
Yes.
Pro Wrestling for Life. Pro Wrestling for Life. Me, Sean X-Pac Waltman. We're launching. Is this airing on Wednesday or is this live? What are we doing?
It's live and it'll be on Wednesday.
So I'm live right now?
You're live on YouTube and Twitch.
Cool. Okay.
But the
I had no
radio
idea.
show.
Hey everybody, give Stu lots of thumbs up. I know they want to cut away. Pro Wrestling for Life. Me and Sean X-Pac Waldman. We're debuting on Fight tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern. And the podcast audio version will be available 6 a.m. Eastern, and that's all Wednesdays going forward. Tomorrow's show, huge show for us. We have Nick Gage in his first interview after his AEW Dynamite match. And that's not me interviewing Nick Gage. That's me and Sean X-Pac Waltman talking to Nick Gage about that bloody match with Nick Gage, or with Chris Jericho. And then we also have Matt Cardona in one of his first interviews since losing the title to Nick Gage. We have them both. They're separate interviews. We had to keep them in completely different places, or I'm sure they would murder one another. But we have 2 interviews tomorrow: Pro Wrestling for Life, Fight, and then again on all podcast platforms tomorrow morning. Please check that out. I'm very, very excited about that show tomorrow.
I am too. I'm happy to hear about it. All the best. I want you and X-Pac to get all the success in the world. Just make sure you save a couple of listeners for us. But, man, all the best to you, man. Thanks a lot, Nick.
Thank you, Stu and Justin. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much.
Thanks again, man.
Take care, guys.
All right. That was great. That will be on,
Awesome.
like I said, so this, we stream it live on YouTube and Twitch on Tuesdays, and then the recorded version goes on the radio waves on Wednesdays. So,
well, I thought, maybe it's just because I've been so tuned in today. It's been but I thought that was one of the better spots we've done together. Stu.
It was.
I thought that was really good.
It was.
Yeah.
You're gold.
But let me ask you, since we have extra time, and for,
Sure,
the people on Twitch, do you want to see Bray Wyatt go to AEW and become I can't say the exalted one necessarily, but the leader?
All right, so we're on Twitch right now.
We're on Twitch and YouTube. Correct.
Okay. All right. Wonderful.
I guess like the
All right,
fan
so,
in you know.
All right. Well, here's my pitch for Bray and AEW. Right. If that's what happens. All right. I want Bray with Braun and Rowan. Okay. I want the trio, and I want them to be at odds with the Dark Order.
Ooh.
And
okay.
I want it to be over Brody's legacy. And I don't have the story written. Like, I don't know what the story arc is, but I am far more compelled with Brody's old family. And one of my friends was like, you should just call him the family. And I was like, that's so sick and dark. I love it.
Yeah.
But I'm so much more invested in the family versus the Dark Order over this like mystical figure to begin the program. I don't know where it goes, but I really love that setup,
Yeah. I think that could be good. I don't want Bray Wyatt to do some version of the Fiend. Bray with, like you said, Braun, Eric. I'd even throw in Bo Dallas.
Yeah, I want to see Bo with him. I would love to see that.
Yeah. Dude, it's so crazy. I'm not tied to Bo, but literally every person I've talked to about this is like, you should put Bo in the Wyatt family.
Yes.
Or the family, whatever you want to call it. And I guess that's a good idea because everybody seems to want to see it,
Well, I mean, you got the family connection. They're brothers. It just, you could play off that. I don't know how well it would work out on air. I sure would like to see him try it.
It would be funny if Bo was like a guy that like they kept on trying to rope him into it, but he was like aloof or something. They can go multiple ways about it.
Well, and yeah, I don't know what's up with Bo. He's on a farm with Liv Morgan or something. But I do know that he could be an interesting Flux character, right? Is he family or is he Dark Order?
Yeah.
Right? Like, does Dark Order get him to go against Bray?
Oh.
I know that I'm tied to the trio of Bray, Rowan, and Braun confronting Dark Order. Bo could be Flux, man. But, a little story there in the middle, maybe.
That's true. That's possible. We will find out, won't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess so.
All right, Nick.
This was great. Thank you guys so much. To all your Twitch listeners and people that are still here, they got it. That was a good conversation Justin brought up. What does Bray Wyatt do in AEW?
It was. I like it. All right, man. Be well. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you another time.
All right. Bye-bye. Whenever we want the info, we go to Nick Hausman. One of the best. He's a good friend too. So, huge thanks to Nick Hausman for joining us. As I said, make sure you follow everything Wrestling Inc. puts up because, like I said, they've been breaking some stories here lately. So you might want to give them a look at for whatever the newest story is in pro wrestling.
Yeah, at least give them a follow on Twitter.
Absolutely, at Nick_Hausman at Wrestling Inc. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we will talk a little bit about AEW and I guess we'll talk about whether CM Punk shows up. That's coming up next on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Good job with the when it first came out. Of course, everybody's going, "Oh, Bray to AEW." At first, I'm going, "No, it doesn't fit." Then I got to thinking about, well, he can't do the Fiend, and I wouldn't do the Fiend. The Fiend does not fit in AEW, and I
Wait. Before you say that, there's a dude that thinks he's a dinosaur.
Yeah, but that's more fun. He doesn't do anything mystical.
I guess he doesn't have any dinosaur eggs yet.
What I would point to is actually when Broken Matt Hardy, and you know how much of a fan I am of Broken Matt Hardy. But admittedly, that iteration of Matt Hardy wasn't as over as it could have been, I guess, or as over as people would have thought.
But it's pro wrestling.
So,
everything has like its moment, and it hits, and that's it.
Well, and that's the thing. I think that one hit, and like I said, I don't think the whole Fiend thing with the red light and all that, I don't think that would play in AEW. I really don't. I do like the Bray Wyatt we saw in NXT when it was him and Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. And I like the prospect of kind of bringing that to AEW with Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan, or Eric Redbeard now. I think Bo Dallas should have some role in it somewhere. I do kind of like the whole, maybe they go with the whole he and Bray are brothers, but maybe he goes Dark Order, and becomes part of the fun bunch. I don't know.
Either way, it would be a great story.
It'd be entertaining.
But think about it, 2 former NXT champions, both of the same brotherhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
But only one person can have the spot. Like, that would be interesting if they were both looking for somebody.
Actually,
to have
Bray
the
did
spot.
not hold the NXT title.
He did not?
No.
Really?
He was WWE champion.
Oh, I do know that. But I know Bo Dallas definitely did.
And yes, Bo Dallas was the first NXT champion, right? Was he first? Yeah.
Was he? I think so.
No, it was.
I mean,
no, it was Seth Rollins. Dusty.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
Seth
right.
Rollins. Yeah. So anyway, we'll see what happens, and we'll let you know. Wrestling Inc. will let you know. Nick will let you know. Everybody else will let you know. All right, let's do segment number 2. Got to mute because we get copyright material, so don't want to get in trouble. Be right back. Twitch and YouTube. can't hear. There we go.
You're gonna say, well, definitely not the one that's taking it. That's
yeah,
for sure.
not the one that's taking it. So anyway, yeah. So what your thoughts on Nick Gage and Jericho?
I'm not. I've said this many
Yeah,
times.
you're
on
not
the
a
show.
fan.
I'm not a fan. I'm just
death
not
matches.
a death match type of guy. And even when it was in its heydays during the mid to late '90s when ECW was running big, it was like I get the appeal to it to certain people and such, and I understand like the creativeness to the artists themselves to express themselves in this way because that's how they see fit. That's fine. I get all that. I know there's a market for everything. It's just not my particular taste. The only problem I really have with this match is that I feel that it kind of killed that third stipulation.
You mean the third labor of Jericho?
Yeah.
Third labor of Jericho, Chris Jericho, and Juventud Guerrera.
Yes, but he has to perform a move off the top rope, right?
I think he has to use a finisher off the top rope.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I don't know.
I was going to say he gave Nick Gage a Frankensteiner. Didn't he already fulfill the labor?
Kind of, but he's got. But remember, he's also got to defeat Juventud Guerrera
with
a top rope, off top rope finisher
for him.
Yeah.
But Chris Jericho doesn't have any natural top rope finishers in his arsenal throughout his years.
You're right. He doesn't. That's going to make this interesting. Look, we know. I mean, I think we can all figure out Jericho's going to win this, but it'll be interesting to see what top rope maneuver he uses.
I'm thinking elbow drop. Honestly, it seems like the most viable type of move. I'm trying to think of who else he was a fan of growing up that had any top rope moves. Maybe a simple splash. That usually is pretty safe.
Could be.
Oh, maybe frog splash.
He was, and, he and Eddie Guerrero were tight.
Yeah,
so maybe get the frog splash from Eddie.
That'd be cool. So we'll see.
Yeah. Couple other notes. Lance Archer, successful in his defense of the IWGP United States Championship, defeated Hikuleo from New Japan and Bullet Club. And earlier on Dynamite, we had the pre-tape from the Ace. Did my heart good to see Hiroshi Tanahashi. And now Hiroshi Tanahashi will challenge for that IWGP United States Championship at New Japan's Resurgence in Los Angeles on August 14th.
I mean, it seems like it's going to be a tough matchup for Tanahashi.
I would think so. I would think they're going to probably keep the belt on Lance for a while. I think some of this might be New Japan. The country of Japan is under another state of emergency because of COVID. We've seen everything with the Olympics and everything, and so they want to send some of their stars. This is what Semper Vivi and I were talking about this last week. They want to send some of their stars to get let them work. So hey, send them to the U.S., send them to L.A. So we've seen Jay White with Impact. We've got several others. I think this could be another one, and this is definitely a bigger name in Tanahashi. So,
I mean, I'm just happy to see the Ace to work, but it's not even a for sure thing here because we even talked about it with Nick. It's like, well, we see the rise of the numbers going on with the Delta variant here, so obviously that is a bit of a downer, but a very real, thing to have to take into consideration, just in case we do have to go back into some sort of lockdown. Obviously, already in stage 5 here in Austin.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this all plays out over the next several weeks.
Because pro wrestling is much better with the live crowd.
Oh God, yes,
like 10 times better.
And you don't want it to go back to the Thunderdome and to Daly's Place again after you've had this taste.
Yeah, I mean it was unique. It was understandable. But
open it back up and then have to close it back down again.
Yeah,
that's like the worst tease. So, AEW announced late last week they have partnered with Upper Deck.
Yeah.
You do trading cards?
No, I used to when I was a kid, but I did see that release, and I know that's a huge deal because they're one of the bigger names in trading cards.
They are. They were one of my favorite brands. When I collected baseball cards and football cards, they were one of my favorite brands to get. Well, they will Upper Deck will be producing AEW trading cards. The first edition of Upper Deck AEW trading cards will be released in November 2021. This is from the press release, offering fans and collectors autograph and memorabilia cards from AEW's most revered icons and talented performers. This is Upper Deck's first time to do professional wrestling trading cards.
Well, I
So
think
it's cool that they're going to do AEW.
I think they also see this as a chance to increase their viability
Oh,
with
yeah.
a demographic that didn't grow up collecting sports cards. Now,
True.
maybe they collected Pokemon cards. I remember I had
Yeah.
cousins that did that, and that was a big deal. Big deal. Yu-Gi-Oh games like that. And even then, I might be even aging myself even further, right? But those kids didn't necessarily collect sports cards. So now trying to get back in on that through this, I think it's a good idea at least to try
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely. I love it. I think it's going to be fantastic, and I can't wait.
You gonna buy a whole book, whole series?
I probably will. By the way, Upper Deck follows us on Twitter now.
Oh, nice!
So
Thank you, Upper Deck.
shout out to Upper Deck. So,
Maybe we can get some sports guys talking wrestling cards.
well, that'd just be two. It'd just be you and me. So,
Well, I
you know,
guess it could be like the tag team card.
and then
Are
it'd be
the
just
tag
one.
team wrestlers getting like a separate card?
I don't know. We'll have to see. I'd just be glad if they could send us some free products. So, we're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll let you know what's happening in independent wrestling around the area. You're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, and you're listening to The Horn.
I mean, free product's cool, but the card? Can you imagine an Upper Deck card of you? Wouldn't that be so cool?
Oh, it'd be great.
I
But,
would never
I mean-
imagine that happening.
I mean, what are the stats they're going to put on the back? I guess I could put like
23-year careers reporter. I don't know, man. How long you
8
been
Super
doing
Bowls,
this? Exactly.
2 Final Fours, that type of thing. Maybe I don't know.
I mean,
We'll see.
were you ever like a little league baseball champion or anything like nothing like
No,
that?
I was the brainiac in school.
Did you ever win anything? Science competition, math
I won a-
competition,
I won a-
spelling bee.
I won a BB gun shooting contest.
There you go.
once.
That's what they're going to put on there.
Sure.
I mean, I was a little league champion, the city champ, and the MVP of the game. I'm not a very good baseball player,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I'll put that one on anything to my grave, I suppose.
Why not? But yeah, that would be really cool. I think they'll be really cool cards, and we'll see them in November as we get Dexter Loomis and Johnny Gargano, the main event.
So they're going against each other.
Yes, this is the match. If Loomis loses, Indy Hartwell cannot
Date
him, I guess. Now understand both last week's and this week's NXT were pre-taped.
Ah, okay.
So we'll see. I think I remember. I think I read what was going to happen, but I'm interested to see how they play it out. And oh, by the way, they're on Sci-Fi because USA Network is involved with Olympics. Although, are they doing anything right now?
Yeah, there'll be live.
What are they showing live?
It would be like volleyball or basketball, but I mean
USA
basketball was
Network?
possibly tennis, things like that. Well, tennis
We'll
already
see.
ended, but like they still have some events going. This is the last week, right?
Right. Yeah. No. I'm track and field. They've got track and field going on right
Well,
now.
because you already had like some of the big competitions already over, like the high jump, which was awesome. High jump was great at the Olympics this year. The double gold medal. The 100-meter dash was awesome.
Oh, and it looks there was this 800 meters.
Okay.
They're doing the gold medal the medal ceremony. Athing Mu and got gold from the United States. And who was bronze? Another American gets bronze. Raven Rogers. So
I don't know. I think soccer should be coming up soon, like the soccer finals, both men and women's.
I know. Yeah, because
Plus
women.
third place games.
Yes, because U.S. women's national team has to play for bronze. They were in shock. So,
So I will be rooting for Canada in the final, which is kind of weird, but okay.
Canada.
They are our
Canada.
neighbors to the north. They should win.
They are,
I
and we don't blame Canada. So
Unlike the South Park song.
That's right.
That was a good
So,
time.
all right, let's finish this one up.
Wait, I was going to ask you.
Ask me.
Well, and one, we should get Nick. We should try to get him again because there's always like random questions I want to ask him that we need time for because he just has long answers. They're nice, thorough answers. That's why I
Yes.
like getting them. But how do you feel about wrestlers in jeans? I noticed that it's become more prevalent.
I don't know if it's more prevalent.
No. But
You
I mean,
had-
it's more prevalent on top tier performers, like
I mean, you got-
Ambrose. Like, how do you feel about your champion in jeans? I know Cena had this jean shorts, but that was kind of part of the gimmick.
At least they're shorts.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have a feeling one way or the other. If it fits the look and they're comfortable in them. I mean, I would suspect those are like special. They've had those, they're like stretchy and that type of thing.
Oh, I mean, they definitely are, but I mean, I just never. I mean, this is just coming from just years of watching it and then like
Right.
performing. Like, I just never ever saw it like as serious if your
Right.
champion was in
We would see
jeans.
them. We would see them in like the
A street fight's fine.
street fight, bunkhouse match, that type of thing.
And in fact, I prefer to see jeans in a street
You always
fight
had
or a
the-
bunk.
Where the Von Erichs had the leather belt with the rodeo belt buckle.
Yeah,
That you could serve salad on.
that tape fist, all that good
Yes.
stuff. But see, like when you have performers just
They
performing
got
in jeans,
yeah.
I
You
just-
got him. You got Orange Cassidy.
And I
don't
get it.
know.
That's part of his
It's-
gimmick,
Yeah.
But at the same token, it doesn't. I guess his aren't just like regular jeans, though. They're those.
No, his
stretchy-
are look like warm ups.
Yeah. So I was like, I kind of get that because it's like that nonchalantness of his character.
Mm-hmm.
But anytime there's a top guy that's in jeans, I'm always just kind of like, I don't know, man. Champion should be like in regular tights. I always felt.
Yeah, I think you're right. All right, let's get segment 3 done. Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Stu Myrick, Justin Smash Simmons. You were asking off air wrestlers in jeans.
Yeah, you fan.
You're feeling. I don't have a feeling one way or the other.
I mean, like we're talking like regular like dungarees, if you will, denim.
Not my Levi's 560s.
Oh, I mean, if you're wearing them into a street fight, I'm
Those
okay
are.
with
I
it.
mean, yeah, that you wear those because they're kind of heavy. So you'd want those in like a street fight or a bunkhouse brawl.
But
or
you know,
something.
that's your everyday attire. It just kind of tells me that you're not going to be in the main event. I don't know why. I mean, some like Ambrose was able to get it over. But
Orange Cassidy.
yeah, but
Although his are more warm up jeans, but hey,
kind of fits
still,
the character though.
it fits him.
Nonchalantness.
yeah. I still say his face off with Sting, greatest wrestling moment ever. We got to get to some independent wrestling that's happening this weekend. We will start with Gulf Coast Wrestling Alliance presenting After Hours Friday at the El Mercado Bingo Hall in Corpus Christi. Bell time 11 p.m. That's a little after my bedtime.
Just a tad.
Prince Adam, Chris Carter, Josh Galvan, and more. That's Gulf Coast Wrestling Alliance. Friday night, late in Corpus Christi. The Independent Wrestling Expo presents Independent Wrestling Expo 5, Saturday at the Rail Club Live in Fort Worth. They got 2 shows, one at 2 p.m. and one at 8 p.m. Carlito, Drama King Matt, Will Allday, Chandler Hopkins, Fuego del Sol, Genocide, and more. That's Independent Wrestling Expo 5, Saturday in Fort Worth. And then Heart of Texas Wrestling presents Mega Brawl, Sunday at the Mart Community Center in Mart. Bell time 6 p.m. Barrett Brown, Matthew Palmer, Moonshine Mantel, T-Ray, and more. That's Heart of Texas Wrestling this Sunday in Mart. And that's a look at independent wrestling around the area. Go support some independent wrestling. You know who's from Mart. Our good friend, our colleague on the Horn, and sideline reporter for the Longhorn Radio Network, Quan Cosby.
Yeah, I was gonna say the wide receivers. So.
What's up, Q? Good to hopefully be able to see him on the sidelines. And I think they said today was 32 days, 31 days, something like that, when Texas takes on the University of Louisiana. Congratulations to Roxy, defeated Sumi Sakai and advanced to the quarterfinals of the Ring of Honor Women's Championship Tournament.
Very cool. Very cool.
That is awesome. Roxy, who is, I think she's 19
Yeah,
now.
she just oh, man, but I remember when she first started.
Yes. Started getting a name for herself, training under Booker T there at Reality Wrestling, and becoming a huge star on the Texas independent scene, and now just a couple steps away from possibly becoming the new Ring of Honor Women's Champion.
Well, I mean, she's put in the work, and it's paying off. And if anything, even if she doesn't become the champion, hopefully this means that, her career will jettison up another notch, and we see her on, national TV more often.
We do. It's, I'm just happy for her. She's such an awesome young lady and so positive and everything, and not to mention just has a great look about her. So it's good stuff, and you want to see her succeed. So yeah, best of luck to Roxy in Ring of Honor. We gotta bring somebody in from Ring of Honor. May have to get Matt Taven. Maybe Adam Cole can go back to Ring of Honor, and we can have the full kingdom.
That'd be pretty cool, actually.
That would be neat. I saw a pic. In fact, I think it was Taven. It was Maria Kanellis Bennett. Tweeted out the photo. See the photo with all four of them
when they went like that. Yeah.
Back in the old Ring of Honor days or New Japan. That was pretty awesome.
Admittedly, though, Stu, we talked about how all these wrestlers would be potentially going to AEW, but we didn't even mention the fact that ROH, Impact, even NWA could still be in play for some of those names if they're really looking to make a big splash with their companies in their own rights.
Major League Wrestling, New Japan could use the talent as well.
Can you imagine if any of those other organizations were able to pull Adam Cole and make him, like, in the main event picture, the champion, like, almost immediately after? That would be must-talk television. Like, people would have to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be fantastic. I want the wealth to be spread around. I want all those companies to succeed. I want WWE to succeed. I want them to do better wrestling, but hey, I want them to succeed. And because I think it's good for the industry. It's good for, we've talked about it, it's good for the workers because they have more places.
It's good for our shows because it gives us so many things to talk about now.
Yes, it's good for shows like this one and Wrestling Observer Live and all the podcasts that Nick does and everything because, it gives you more stuff to talk about. So, yeah, we want to see all that happening. Let's see. Anything else I missed? Congratulations, AEW. So they did a thing tying the Wounded Warriors Project in with AEW Homecoming, which, if you're listening to this on the Horn, is airing right now on TNT. And through that, they have raised $5,000 for the Wounded Warriors.
That's awesome.
Good stuff from AEW. Our good friend Mark Henry.
Yeah.
He has, he has helped to create their community outreach team, and it's him and Captain Sean Dean and Cody, of course. And you know as well as I do, Mark is going to go full bore into this. That's what he does.
Well, he even came on this show and said that's what his big initiative was going to be, was that he noted that they didn't really have like a charitable organization arm of AEW, and that was one of his big marks that no pun intended there, that he wanted to put his stamp on the company.
Well, and then when AEW was here for Dynamite, I was with him and Ricky Starks at the Boys Girls Club here in Austin. And they had Captain Sean Dean and Big Shotty Lee Johnson and Julia Hart, and I know those kids had a blast. And that's Mark's heart. That's what's in Mark's heart. He wants that. Huge shout out to Mark and everybody with the AEW Community Outreach Team. And We want them to succeed in outreach. I think I saw something about they were going to bus in something like 600 kids or 60 kids or something like that to Dynamite in Jacksonville.
That's
so,
awesome.
hey, absolutely. That'll do it for this week's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. You can follow Justin the Smash Simmons on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at The Smash Simmons. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Stu Myrick. That's STEWMYRICK. You can follow the show on Twitter and Twitch at SGTWATX. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. We live stream on YouTube and Twitch Tuesday nights, 7:30 p.m. Central. You can also catch us Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Central on the flagship station for the Texas Longhorns. We are the Horn, 104.9 and 101.9 FM and AM 1260. You can also catch us anytime on demand by either going to hornfm.com and click on the On-Air tab, or by subscribing to us on your favorite podcast provider. Make sure you rate and review us there. Huge thanks to Nick Hausman from Wrestling Inc. for joining us, and a huge thanks to you for giving us a little bit of your time tonight. For Justin, I'm Stu. We will see you at the matches.
Goodbye and good night. Bang!
And there we go. All right. So I guess Gargano won. Indy Hartwell looks none too pleased. She's walking up with Johnny and Candace. Johnny and Candace acting like the parents that said, look, we had to do what we had to do. We got to protect you from that. Uh-oh, here comes Indy Hartwell. Back to the ring. Running back to Loomis. Luthez press, and they are necking. Woo!
That's not called necking where I'm from.
Well, it's a big old lip lock. Gargano and Candice LeRae are in shock. Meanwhile, Indy Hartwell is just, it's like, get a room, you two.
You're being nice. This is like some of the poorest kissing I've seen.
I know.
Like she has like her hand all over it, all over his mouth. Like I get it. You don't.
Candice LeRae walks off in disgust.
I am too. I'm just kind of like, thank you.
And now Dexter.
That looks much
there
better.
We go.
That was much
awesome.
better. Yeah.
Yay. Love triumphs.
At first, that was really hard to watch. I was like, you guys have no chemistry. What happened to the chemistry, y'all? This is supposed to be a sexy makeout section.
Oh, man.
And it's just not happening.
Can't be too sexy. It's,
It's on Sci-Fi.
It is
cable.
on Sci-Fi. Yeah, you're right.
And they're going to show something way sexier on Sci-Fi probably after that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So, but anyway, Grant Holloway.
I don't think these are live, though.
Some of this is not. No, because it is. Well, it's just after 11 a.m.
Yeah, but
Wednesday in Tokyo.
Like
some of them are. Yeah, some are. Some aren't. Yeah, you can tell. You can see the live. The little word live.
I've actually had the best luck watching this stuff online.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just through NBC Sports. Like that's how I watch the basketball game. Because other than that, you need Peacock.
True, which kind of baffles me. I mean, I get they want to drive subscriptions and all that good stuff.
But you put the American men basketball team on Peacock? I mean, come on. It's just unfair.
That is unfair. It really is. I mean, in honestly, NBC has gotten a lot of flack for that.
They should. I mean, this is the Olympic Games. Everything should be, and you pay for cable already, and you have like 5 channels that you should be able to watch all this stuff on. And then they put the best events on replay. They don't even show them live when they could show them live.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, look, I get it's 13-hour time difference between Tokyo and the East Coast, 14 hours here. So it's hard to show a lot of it live, but at the same time, it's just after 9 p.m. Central here in Austin on Tuesday night, which means it's 11 a.m. in Tokyo on Wednesday morning. So there's stuff going on. You could show that stuff live. And even in the morning, you get up early enough in the morning. Like, I usually turn on my TV about 7:30 a.m. It's 9:30 p.m. in Tokyo, so you'll catch like some of the gymnastics and a few other things like that. So it's just the timing is hard. You can't fix that. Sorry, it's just that it is what it is. I've seen some trips.
That was the
I
Japanese guy too.
saw a young lady. Oh, he's tripped. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw a young lady yesterday on the. Oh, here we go. Get a little pop and lock. All right. Saw a young lady trip and fall yesterday during the women's. I think it was 200-meter hurdles. By the way, shout out to Lee Diffie and Sonia Richard-Ross doing commentary on the track and field. Proud Longhorn, gold medalist. Of course, her husband has sat right on that couch.
Oh yeah,
Aaron
that's
Ross, 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Giants for Longhorn Lowdown. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, this is a semi-final.
Yeah. Oh, he fell before you even.
With him, and then he
Yeah, he just
he nicked the back of that. That's a
understand.
door. Well, I mean,